Alright, Colin here, and today we're talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. And I've really grown to love this thing, from just how quick it is to jump in and out of games whenever something comes up, to how seamless the transition is from dock to handheld play. Every time I get locked into a game on this thing, the whole experience is just great. But just like the original Switch, I still have one major gripe, and it's the comfort. Now don't get me wrong, I fully appreciate this thing for what it is. I think the most impressive part about it is the fact that something this thin and lightweight can play these massive games like Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy Rebirth. So basically, what I find most impressive about the Switch 2 is also the main thing that I've been trying to fix. It started with grip cases, and while those are a great, affordable way to get some comfort out of this thing, it wasn't until I started trying different Joy-Cons that the handheld gaming experience totally changed for me. So that's what we're talking about today. I've got a couple grip cases that are worth checking out, and 2 sets of Joy-Cons that honestly just might make you leave the original Switch 2 Joy-Cons somewhere in storage. Some of these products I bought myself, some were sent to me, some I have codes for, but either way, I've tested using all of this stuff, and I promise you, all of it makes being a Switch 2 owner even better. So let's get into it. So the easiest place to start is just with the grip case. You're not changing anything about the Switch itself, you're just giving your hands a little more to hold on to. And before anyone asks, yes, there are 2 Switches in this video. One's mine, the other's my wife's. Once Pocopia got its claws into her, there was no turning back. She needed one of her own. But I've been using 2 different grip cases. The first one, it comes from COOWPS. This one's definitely the more rugged option. The plastic feels thicker, the grip texture is more aggressive, and it even has its own built-in kickstand. It just feels really solid. The trade-off is weight. You're taking this really thin handheld and adding quite a bit more material to it. It's more comfortable, but you definitely know the case is there. Then there's the JSAUX case. This one's lighter, has better color options, and I actually prefer how wide the grips get towards the bottom of your hands. It fills out my palms just a little bit better. It also keeps Nintendo's kickstand exposed, which I like. The only downside is that the back plate feels noticeably thinner than the COOWPS. So if durability is your priority, I lean COOWPS. And honestly though, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these options. They're both a huge improvement over using the Switch completely stock. And yes, both of these fit easily into the Switch dock. Using grip cases did create one small problem though. Nintendo does include their little Joy-Con grip for dock play, but once you add the grips on, they just don't fit anymore. And sure, you could take the grips off every time I want to dock the Switch, but I'm definitely not doing that. And that's where the little dbrand JoyLock comes in. It's a really simple idea, but it lets me keep the grips attached and still use the Joy-Cons like a normal controller when I'm docked. It's one of those accessories you really don't think about until you start using it. Then it just stays in your setup. So the grip cases are great, but after playing with other handhelds, you really start to realize just how much the Switch 2 Joy-Cons hold back the system. So if that's what you want to improve, these Joy-Con alternatives will make your Switch 2 feel like a totally different handheld. And I've been using 2 different replacements, the NYXI Hyperion 3's and the Mobapad M12S. Now the NYXI, I actually found these on TikTok for around $50, and for that price, I'm super impressed. The first thing you'll notice is just how thick they are. If you got bigger hands, there's just so much more to grab onto here. The Switch starts to feel less like a tablet with controllers attached and more like an actual handheld. The buttons feel great, the Hall effect sticks have this nice full travel, and overall, these just make longer gaming sessions a lot more comfortable. NYXI actually includes its own center bridge in the box, so you can just pop the controllers off the Switch and attach them together. And you've instantly got another controller, and that's just a really nice thing to include. Then Mobapad sent me over their M12S for review. Big thank you to Mobapad for that, and they have not seen this video beforehand and no money was exchanged in either way. But these take a different approach. They're slimmer than the NYXI, but I actually prefer the shape. The back has a really nice concave design that really reminds me of holding my Steam Deck. And maybe it's because I don't own any white handhelds, but I absolutely love the way these look on the Switch. They're clean, they're streamlined, and they honestly look like they could have just shipped with the console. Both controllers use mechanical buttons, which I definitely prefer over Nintendo's originals. They're clicky, tactile, and they just feel really satisfying. The joysticks are probably the biggest upgrade though. Both give you full-size sticks with actual travel. The NYXI uses Hall effect sticks, the Mobapad uses TMR, and both are excellent. And if I'm being honest, I don't think many people are going to notice the technology nearly as much as they'll notice finally having proper size sticks. Now, neither controller has Nintendo's optical sensor for mouse controls. Now, personally, I don't use mouse mode very often, so that hasn't really mattered to me. They both have gyro, both have programmable back buttons, and both let you change the D-pad depending on your preference. The RGB is really where they separate. Mobapad, they keep things simple. NYXI definitely wants you to know it has RGB lights. The rumble is also pretty different. The Mobapad is louder, more aggressive. The NYXI is quieter and a little more refined, and personally, that's the one I prefer. Just to keep in mind, these are the M12S. So if HD rumble is important to you, Mobapad also makes the M12 HD. So that's another option that I haven't been able to test myself. Battery is actually worth talking about with the Mobapads because there is something you need to know. When they're attached to the Switch, they can pull power directly from the console. And considering the Switch 2 doesn't exactly have battery life to spare, that's something you're going to notice. Now thankfully, Mobapad has thought about this. On the back of each controller, there's this little power switch, and you flip those into power saver mode, and the controllers stop pulling power from the Switch. Then when you actually need to charge the controllers, you can switch that power connection back on, or just charge them separately. I do notice more battery drain than when I'm using the normal Joy-Cons, but it really hasn't been that big of an issue for me. Now, I might disappoint some people when I tell you that I really can't choose which one I prefer because I really don't think there's a clear winner. The NYXI wins for size if you got bigger hands, and these are going to be more comfortable. But the Mobapads, they win for shape. That concave back just fits my hands better. They're cleaner, more streamlined, and they just look so good in this total package. So personally, these are the ones that have been living on my Switch. Alright guys, so as I'm sitting here editing this, NYXI just announced their new Hyperion 3 Ultras, and it pretty much just addresses all of the biggest compromises that I just talked about. So they're moving from the Hall Effect sticks to TMR sticks, adding HD 2D haptics, NFC for amiibo support, mouse mode, 9-axis motion controls. So basically everything that comes on the original Joy-Cons will be on these Hyperion 3 Ultras. And yeah, that probably explains why I was able to find these on sale for like $50, but that's pretty cool. They seems like they're the first third-party Joy-Con to crack the code and figure everything out. But yeah, they are pretty pricey though. Looks like if you pre-order, you get them for $160, but after that pre-order, looks like they're gonna go up to $200. So act fast if you want them. But yeah, back to the video. The one downside to bigger controllers is travel. Your old grip cases obviously aren't fitting anymore. So what I've been doing is using the front cover from my grip case to protect the screen, and then I'll throw the controllers in my bag separately. Mobapad gets another point here because they actually include a travel case for the controllers. It's a small thing, but it really is nice to have. And remember the JoyLock from earlier? It works with both of these too. So whether I'm using Nintendo's Joy-Cons, the NYXI's, the Mobapads, I can dock the Switch and keep using the same controller, and that's honestly become one of my favorite little accessories. Now at the end of the day, I don't think there's one accessory that everyone needs. If you already have the Nintendo Joy-Cons, grab a grip case. It's the cheapest way to make the Switch just even more comfortable. But if you're looking to completely change the handheld experience, replacement Joy-Cons are where I noticed the biggest difference. For me, the Mobapads are staying on my Switch, not because the NYXI are bad. I actually really like them. The Mobapads just fit my hands and my style better. And that's really the whole point of this video. None of these accessories make the Switch 2 more powerful. They don't make your games look better. They don't magically increase frame rates. It just makes you want to pick up the Switch even more. And that's probably the best upgrade I could have made. So I appreciate you watching. Let me know down in the comments if you've picked up a grip case or if you picked up one of these Joy-Cons and what you think about them. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you sticking around. But that's it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.